DD Cryptos here. I hope everyone's well. So we have Justin Trudeau or Pierre. Which one do you pick? The country's in trouble, everyone. Big trouble. We need to make a decision. I think elections are about a year out. So Pierre just came on and announced pretty alarming stats that are metrically equating to the mortgage conditions in Canada. People aren't doing so hot, guys. They're not doing so hot. We have lots of problems occurring when it comes to the homeless and people struggling to make ends meet. So, again, guys, I'm not left or right. We just need someone to fix this mess that's in political office. But I want you guys to take a peek at what he was saying in his message recently. There is a French aspect to this, guys. I don't speak Francais, so I'm going to forward that part when we get there. But have a listen.
Avec le gros bon sens. Thank you very much, everyone. Now in English. I got some terrible news today. The average mortgage payment in Canada has now risen to $3,500. I had been saying that housing costs had doubled under Justin Trudeau. It's now far worse than that. The average mortgage payment has gone from $1,400 the day that Trudeau promised he would make housing affordable to $3,500. That's 2.5 times higher.
2.5 times higher. How much has your paycheck gone up by? We already know. What do? Average companies. About 2 to 3% to combat inflation, if that, yet everything else has been increasing consistently. Let's keep on listening here.
This is the fastest increase in mortgage payment costs in the history of Canada, and by far. You know, we saw a defense lawyer come out the other day saying she's helped 3 clients who've asked to stay in prison longer than their sentence.
Wow.
Rather than go face the housing hell Trudeau has caused out on our streets. But the truth is, and joking aside, for young people and the working class, the housing market after 8 years of Justin Trudeau is a prison. It's a prison of walls for 350 square foot apartments that cost $2,000 a month, or parents' basements.
Facts.
Where young adults of 35 years old live, never having a chance to start a family with their biological clocks running out. And I used to say that. You all said, oh, Poilievre's exaggerating. Now, 35-year-old living in mom's basement after 8 years of Trudeau is the least of our concerns. Now,
well, the mainstream news was exaggerating, as they always do. You gotta love the mainstream news. It's so garbage. Anyways, he's right on point there. Right on point with so many younger people not being able to achieve house ownership. It's a problem, guys. It's a problem. And I don't know if you guys ever seen those social media posts where they do a comparison of Canada to the U.S., certain parts of the U.S., by the way. And if you'll all see a pattern, the blue states, Democrat states, are the worst. Then you go to the red states, which are just much better, much more affordable. Again, guys, I'm not left or right. I'm just putting facts and common sense on the table.
Now the worry is whether that 35-year-old and his mother are going to end up in a tent on a street where nurses and carpenters now live after 8 years of Trudeau. Let me ask you this. What happens in Canada in the next 2 years as people's mortgages roll over and their monthly bills go up
Max
by $2,000 or $3,000 a month? What happens?
Wow.
What happens when they can't pay? Where do they go? Our homeless shelters are already overflowing. Our refugees already live on the streets and under bridges. What do you think is going to happen when 10 or 100,000 families lose their homes? Where will they go?
Well, we all know Trudeau's not taking them in, or Jasmeet Singh, the NDP government that's propping up Trudeau. They're not bringing them into their houses. So let's keep on listening here.
Where will they go? We will have the world talking about a humanitarian crisis not in a developing country on the other side of the Atlantic, but right here in Canada. That is where this is heading.
Facts.
We have never seen it like this before. And we were supposed to have solutions out of this big housing retreat Trudeau held. What was the solution? More speeches, more photo ops, more puff pieces for his incompetent housing minister to go out and attack the very programs he was running 2 weeks ago. Nothing. Justin Trudeau, the vacation is over. You've doubled housing costs. We have young people living on the streets. It's time to recall the House so that we can get Canadians a home. Conservatives will put forward tangible solutions to the problems you have caused, Mr. Trudeau. To balance the budget and bring down interest rates on mortgages, to remove the massive bureaucracies you've built up so that housing construction can go ahead, to sell off thousands of acres of land and thousands of federal buildings to build, build, build. But we have to get back to work. Your vacation is over. Canadians can't wait, and they can no longer live under the disastrous housing market you have created, Mr. Trudeau. So let's get to work and bring it home. Thank you.
Will a Conservative government prohibit gender-affirming health care as a policy submission suggests in your upcoming convention?
I haven't had a chance to study all the proposals at our convention, but we'll take a careful look at every proposal and decide whether or not it lines up with our platform.
You know, gender-affirming healthcare is the concern of that mainstream news shill. We should be asking he's just talked about the housing crisis in Canada. We're going to gender-affirming surgeries. Come on, guys. Look, come on.
Pierre says that you're making people angry. Do Canadians need help making people angry?
You know, making people angry. Stating the truth is not making people angry. It's called truth, facts, logic, common sense. He's not fear-mongering either. It's so bad out there, people are starting to scream, and you have a multitude of liberals that are now ex-liberals going to this side of the party. But again, I don't know if this guy's going to do it, but let's see what he does. I just know anything is better than Justin Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau is worried that people are angry. You know what I worry about? I worry about the nurse living in her van.
Exactly.
After 8 years of Trudeau. I worry about the tent cities that never existed before he was Prime Minister, but now we see every single city in Canada. I worry about the 30,000 families that have lost loved ones to drug overdoses because of the hopeless economy and situation in which they find themselves. You know what I found, interestingly? I hold these rallies, and I invite every single person at every single rally to come and shake my hand.
I have seen that.
They are hurting, and they are desperate for someone who gives them hope. And for so many millions of people, I am humbled by the fact that I am that person. I am the only one giving them hope.
Conservatives are in the lead. Okay, here's the French part, guys. I'm just going to fast forward this. Okay, again, apologies here. I do not speak Francais, so I'm going to go to the 7-minute mark in this video here.
Fâché, parce que c'est lui qui est à blâmer et non pas les Canadiens.
Prime Minister also gave an appeal to younger Canadians today, seeming to talk about these issues you're talking about, knowing that people are upset, seeing the polls and young Canadians, millennials specifically. The Conservatives are well ahead. So what solutions are you offering that the Prime Minister isn't?
Great question.
I'm basically proposing to do the exact opposite of everything he's done on this file. He doubled housing costs. When I was housing minister, housing cost half as much. How are we going to do it? We're going to balance the budget to bring down inflation and interest rates on mortgages. We're going to remove the massive bureaucracy that adds $1.2 million. Sorry.
What he's talking about there, guys, is since the Liberals and Trudeau have taken over, they have ballooned the federal government by another almost 100,000+ employees. And again, we have to have common sense here. When is the last time you went to a government office, utilized a government service in Canada, and you were happy with the service? I remember all my time. Zero. Just Google any government service, and they have Google reviews 1.2, 2.3, 2.5. They're all garbage because, all due respect, a lot of government employees are part of unions. You guys are comfortable, but life doesn't work like that. If you're not producing results, you need to go. And the government's gotten super fat off Trudeau. Time to slash and cut, and they're the ones that are going to be affected by this. I'm sorry to say, but it's true. But the people in the private sector are hurting.
$1.3 million to the cost of a new home in Vancouver. We're going to do what the Squamish did in that city, which is go around the city's bureaucracy to build 6,000 housing units on 10 acres of land. Why did they do that? Because they didn't have to listen to City Hall. They were free from the bureaucracy that stops home building.
Way too much bureaucracy, by the way, in home building. I don't know if you guys didn't know any developers out there. I do. It's a nightmare to try and develop on land. Just, you do these alligator tiers. We're going to help you out when we get voted in, and the same thing continues over and over again. If you have assets, it's a golden dream if you have assets. But if you have no assets, you're just renting. Good luck out there.
We're going to sell off 6,000 acres of federal land, 6,000 buildings and thousands of acres of federal land to build.
That is smart.
We're going to give the same support to the trades that we give to the professions and universities so that we can have more boots, not just more suits, to build the houses of the future. The reason young people
actually doing work
are showing their support for me is because they know that I can deliver affordable homes, more powerful paychecks, and lower costs. That's the hopeful message that has inspired youth to back Pierre.
I still want to know how this gentleman is going to deal with the Central Bank, by the way, of Canada. That's a private organization. Just a reminder, everyone out there, the Federal Reserve in the U.S. is not federal at all. It's private. Private company owns it with private board members, the same as in Canada as well. It's a private entity. So that's a big question I would have for him to throw at him if I ever met him in person.
Do you think Canada should lower the number of international student permits, as one minister suggested?
Well, listen, there's no question that Sean Fraser has ruined the program. Like, I find it incredible these puff pieces are being written about Trudeau's housing minister. I thought he was the immigration critic for the official opposition yesterday, attacking the very programs that he ran up until 2 weeks ago. Somebody, and I want to thank the multicultural media
finger pointing
for not being asleep at the switch and actually covering the disasters that are unfolding right now in that program because of Sean Fraser's total incompetence. We as Conservatives will make sure that international students have homes, health care, and when they want it, jobs, so that we can get back to a system that supports our universities, attracts the world's brightest people, helps the demographics of our country, but does not leave people living in squalor, human trafficking, drug overdoses, and other humanitarian horrors that Sean Fraser allowed to go ahead. And the fact that they promoted Sean Fraser to housing after the disaster he made of immigration programs is incredible. This is a guy who put refugees on the streets and under bridges, and now he's the housing minister? Any wonder why housing costs have doubled under Trudeau?
Last question. Foreign interference, can you discuss the kind of names that the parties are seeing? Because there's been some reports suggesting that some people have turned down the job. Dominic LeBlanc was talking about consulting the Supreme Court Justice on names. So can you just talk about the kind of names you've seen and what the process is like?
Well, we came forward with a mandate and a number of names that we thoroughly vetted for nonpartisanship and high qualifications, and we handed them to the government. it's up to the Prime Minister's department to then approach those people and convince them to fill the positions. Our view is that while we're open to negotiating, we want a process that gets done quickly so we can have the truth before the election. It has to be nonpartisan. It can't be another Liberal donor or another Trudeau family friend. And we need a mandate to achieve all.
All right, guys, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. But, you know, Jasmeet Singh could literally end all of this today by just absolving their partnership, the Liberals. It goes to show you, NDP, Liberal, and again, guys, it just all three of these groups I have sour taste in my mouth from what these government agencies do. You know, they just drive me absolutely insane by their just utter incompetence in every capacity. Private organizations do not run like the government. That's all I have to say. Just the pure incompetence. We'll see what this gentleman does. But all I know is he's killing it because in the polls, because no one else, everyone has seen and identified the truth now on what the NDP and Liberals are doing. So Trudeau, just resign. Again, resign. You're embarrassing yourself. Just let go. All right, guys. That's all I have to say. It's a much longer video than I wanted to make, but God bless you all. And if you're struggling, sorry about that, guys. And if you're struggling out there, you know, may God be with you. Say your prayers, guys. All right? Decrypt us out. Take care of yourself. Cheers.